goes right into, what we were just talking about with the challenge for job seekers in America and, what's going on in the marketplace. I mean, that's why, pre-COVID, it was getting harder to get people on the phone, no doubt. Business development, B2B, um, the base of, old school lead gen. Sure, you might do some marketing or advertising, but I mean, phone, bang the phone, right? And then over time, it got harder and harder. And then COVID just ripped it apart because everybody went home and all the receptionists could say, even if they were answering the phone, could say, hey, I can't get a hold of that person, or I'm not allowed to transfer to their cell phone, or we can't transfer to their cell phone, whatever. The connection rates for business development and prospecting, whether you're a sales rep, an account manager, account executive, or telemarketer 2.0, it just got that much harder. I mean, it's just gotten that much more difficult. And so, you know, companies had to make a change. And, a few years ago, I dug into email marketing to do lead gen for my firm. And that's how I got started in it, was just doing it for us. And then over time, you just do it more and more and more, and you get better at it and you learn everything you need to learn. And now I guess you might say I'm one of the quote unquote experts in the B2B email space. But I mean, there's other people that certainly are adept at it, and I'm sure there's some that are better than me, but I'm kind of a specialist. I look at it from a sales point of view. I'm taking what we would do on the phone with an initial outreach to a potential decision maker and putting that in an email format. Very short, to the point. Hey, do you have this pain point? If you do, we can help solve it. Would love to get you over some information about this, that, or the other thing. I want to send you a PDF. I want to send you a link, whatever it is, because you're trying to elicit a response. And then if you're interested, after you look it over, we'll jump on a call. I mean, email is by far and away the best thing that ever happened to my company, and it is the best medium for B2B lead generation, unless your list and your target audience is extremely small, meaning in the low, in the thousands, 10,000. If that's all your prospect list is across the entire country, then I would go old school with a rep, manual email, some LinkedIn, do all that stuff, because it's just too small of the list to make email. Yeah, you could send an email every month to that list, but that's not really what I specialize in. I specialize in company whose prospect list, setting up email where the prospect list is 50,000 and up. And I have clients that have lists and prospect lists that are over 1 million. I mean, there's 48 million in my system that I use and that I set clients up on. So nothing compares to email when done correctly. So the trick to email, to make it work in a B2B scenario, is think of it just like you were going to send a one-to-one email to a prospect, like you would cold call them, and you got them directly on the phone, but you weren't able to dig in and ask them questions, right? Because on a phone call, you say, hey, Jenny, do you have this pain point? Great, I'm going to send you something over. Hey, while I have you, let me ask you a couple of quick questions. And you could dig in and you could grab all kinds of intel on the prospect, right? Well, when you're doing email, you can't do that, right? So the thing you have to do is find out, do you have this pain point? Are you interested in solving it? If so, do this, and then maybe we'll take the next steps. So you're trying to get them to respond. You're eliciting a response. That is the key to one-to-one to B2B email marketing. HTML emails from a company to a group of people don't work. They're advertisements. Everybody deletes them. Threaded sequences in CRMs, it's tired. It's an old tactic. Everybody knows it's automated. They're not responding to that anymore. Not nearly like they used to. It was novel at one time, but it wore thin. You're not taking them through a process. All you want to do with email is find out, do you have this pain point? Are you interested in solving it? Can I send you this? That's it. It's all we want to do with email marketing. And when you do that and you think of it that way, just like you're a rep on the phone, now you understand the basic idea of how to use it and how to make it really effective for your organization. And at the end of the day, again, when you look at cost per lead, and I do very, very intricate setups for companies so that they can send, per box, 6,000 a day, 125,000 a month. And there's a lot of pieces that go into that, which we don't want to go in on this interview, because if we don't have a screen share, it's very hard for anyone to really appreciate or visualize. But you have your, a dedicated email domain. You've got your DNS settings with the, SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. You've got your domain reputation management you need to run at all times. So you're pumping 2,000 a day back and forth, legitimate emails across the domain that are getting open and responded to and all that stuff to really keep the health of the domain really strong. You got a dedicated email address and inbox that the emails are coming from technically, but the people are responding to. You have email APIs running, and then I also do email copywriting and campaign management for clients, set them up on the campaign management system, and then build them prospect list, and then even do the management form if they want. But so there's a lot of detail, a lot of moving parts, and most companies don't succeed with it because they think of it like an advertisement. We can't think of it like an advertisement. You have to think about it like you would as a sales rep making a cold call or a BDR, telemarketer 2.0. Okay. If you do it correctly, though, and you put all the pieces in place and you're doing it right, nothing touches email as far as CPL, as far as cost per lead. Nothing. I mean, if you get a good response, not great, not horrible, but a good solid response, you're going to generate 6,000 emails a day across all of my clients. So I'm taking a big average here, a big range here. But typically I would generate 4 or 5 leads a day, 100 to 125 leads a month, right? The actual cost to do that at the raw cost for my clients after I do the setup, $561. Cost per lead at that response, $4 to $6 a lead. People say, that's unbelievable. How do you do that? Well, you're doing everything at raw cost, and you're doing it at an extremely high level. So a lot of companies have learned how to do some basic email sequencing, and they've done it through their CRM and all that stuff, but it's all connected through Google Workspace or Microsoft 365, which only allows for them to really send in the hundreds per day from a box. And usually in all reality, for some, it's only 200 or 300. Well, that's not sufficient enough with that kind of medium. You want to be sending, 5,000, 6,000 a day on a single box. And then, we have clients that'll generate 10 leads a day on a box. And I've got one that has set the new record not that long ago. She generated on one of her boxes. They got over 40 leads in one day. A little easier group to do lead gen for, but at the end of the day, I mean, their cost per lead as a group, their whole organization across all their boxes, their cost per lead's only $1 to $2 a lead, somewhere in there at raw cost. Now they pay me to manage that for them, so you have to increase a little bit in sort of cost factor because I do it. But yeah, I mean, going back to the original conversation of employment and reps in the United States and salespeople and how to build sales teams and all that stuff. I mean, putting American reps with US salaries. I mean, I don't even like prospecting by phone with people in Latin America or Southeast Asia as cheap as they can be. And even if they're really, really good, because it's just not efficient enough. I want to drive inbound leads a lot faster, a much more efficient medium like email. Email is really the only one that I've seen ever do this. And then put a rep on the phone as an SDR, BDR, or the reps, the salespeople themselves manage those inbound leads. Again, it just depends on the organization and so on and so forth, right?